Alrighty, so we have come to our topic on zero exponents and negative exponents. So I'm going to start with zero exponents because this is super great. Here's what happens. If you have a zero as an exponent, let me get my green marker, like 5 to the 0 power, it equals 1. If you have x to the 0 power, it equals 1. Anything to the 0 power equals 1. So write that in your notes sometime. Anything to the power of 0 equals 1. Anytime, always. So let me show you an example of how that could be used. You could have something like, I like this one. Okay, so x to the third divided by x squared, y to the 0. If you simplify that, you have to use two rules, right? First, we're going to use our division rule with this. So x to the 3 minus 2, and y to the 0 is 1, which can be silent. You don't need to actually write the 1. Okay, so we have x to the 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is x to the 1 times 1, which doesn't matter. And this one can also become silent, x. Okay, so x to the third times y to the 0 divided by x squared equals x. Okay, so just anytime you see that y to the 0, it makes that thing go away. Another example where you might see something weird like that is if you had like m to the third over m to the third, right? That's the same on the top and the bottom, just like 2 over 2 is 1, 3 over 3 is 1. Okay, but we can use our rules. M to the 3 minus 3 equals m to the 0, which equals 1. Okay, so that's the basics of that. Anything to the 0 power is always 1. Okay, second part of this lesson, I feel like they used a lot of words to say that, is what we do with negative exponents. Okay, so negative exponents, okay, it means flip to the other side of a fraction. Guys, it's so windy today. My house is shaking. Let me know how you feel about that in chat. When you're live with me, you can tell me you saw that and you were like, hey, did the wind die down? Hopefully the answer is yes, because it'll be like a week or two from now. Okay, so negative exponents. Basically, we're flipping to the other side of a fraction. So if we have 1 over x to the negative 3, that means we have x to the third. If we have x to the negative 3, we have 1 over x cubed. Okay, so if it's a negative exponent, just move it to the other side of the fraction. That's all you're doing. It is way more complicated. No, it's less complicated than you would think. Okay, so I'm going to give a few examples where they try to make it look complicated, but it's really not too bad. Okay, so here we go. Here's an example. X cubed, y to the negative 5th, z to the 2nd, divided by, and we'll do x to the 4th, y squared, z to the negative 3. Okay, I made this up. I made it complicated in my head. We're going to just use our rules of exponents first of doing the division. Okay, so this is x to the 3 minus 4 times y to the minus 5 minus 2 and z to the 2 minus 3, right? Because our rule for these fractions is we do subtraction. And so we end up with that double negative here because we're doing minus the minus 3. Okay, so next step. So x to the 3 minus 4, that's x to the negative 1. Y to the minus 5 minus 2 is y to the minus 7. Z to the 2 minus a minus, so that's a plus. 3 is 5. Okay, so I'm going to erase some of this stuff at the bottom. We know our 0 rule. We're going to keep this, the flip to the other side of the fraction. Okay, so our x has a negative exponent. That means it's going to go on the bottom of our fraction. Whoa, I don't know why that happened. I pressed a button. That's what happened. Oh my God. Stop drawing things. They're going to work. Ugh. It's like I've pressed a button and broken everything. I might have to just use my mouse. That's what I'll do. Okay, so x is at the bottom. The 1 we don't have to write. Okay, we've taken care of the negative because it's down in the bottom of the fraction. And the 1 we don't have to write. Y to the 7th power. Okay, so we took care of the negative by putting it in the bottom of the fraction. And we write the 7. And z to the 5th can just stay on the top. Okay, I'm going to use the red and kind of circle this. This is what we ended up with as our final answer there. Okay, so you just kind of go methodically through these problems, use the rules that you have, figure out what they actually equal, and then kind of organize it into what we call the simplified form. Let me know if you have any questions. I think that's really it in this lesson. It just gets more complicated and adding more letters. So if you have questions about the harder ones, definitely let me know.